Yo, what is going on, y'all? It's been a long time no see on this channel. It's Louis. I'm back with a reaction video to Cameron Suzanne, or Cameron Susan. My apologies, Cameron. My apologies, Cameron, if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Live streamers are destroying Gen Z. I just by the title, I'm gonna go ahead and say I agree, but it isn't just a live streamer issue. If the title was obviously this is specific to live streamers, right? But my own personal thoughts is that media is controlling and destroying every generation. But since we're gonna fixate on Gen Z, I definitely do feel like live streamers are probably the new crack of the era. My bad, y'all. Definitely feel like it's crack in this era with Gen Z. So let's see what Cameron's got to say about it. I'm gonna go ahead and play the video, and I'll leave a link to her video down below so y'all can see that too if y'all need to, check the comments out, things of that nature.
Where are your parents?
It's still recording right now, so I'm calling the police and let this shut down right now.
No 5 isn't a lot, it's all we have. I don't vape.
How are you gonna act like you're not a We're not here to talk to you. We're not here to talk to you. You're not even a girl to me. I mean, look at this animal. Like,
don't put your hand in my food again.
Just some of the massive podcasters and live streamers who embraced and platformed Donald Trump.
I made the baby cry. I'm sorry, bro.
We have a serious problem. Full stop.
Let me just say, if I skip through this video, it's because today's Thanksgiving, so I gotta go to my mom's. I gotta bring the food that we made, or my nana's, over to my nana's house. So I don't really have 45 or 38 minutes to go through. Plus, I'll be pausing to talk. So no disrespect to you, Cameron, and I'm just gonna be skipping through it. Probably, maybe, who knows? Maybe I won't even do that. We'll see.
Hey guys, it's your girl Cameron, and I'm back at it again with another video. And today we need to discuss something in the wake of all the craziness that's been going on the past couple weeks. We have to discuss the destructive nature of streamers and live streaming. This conversation is well overdue, but I think this is the time to tackle this. So with Kai Cenat's long month, Mafiathon 2, dredging up the likes of Kim Kardashian for promo, a new antic or clip drops every single day. So even for those of us who aren't engulfed in the streaming world, it has almost been a bit unavoidable. And if you didn't know it existed before, it's very hard to ignore its impact now. A pastime that was once considered to be mainly in the interest of gamers, for example, has grown into a global business. We're in the stage.
Yo, how many of y'all were here when Twitch was Justin.tv? Or Justin TV. Yeah, I think it was Justin.tv. And I remember they used to have all the MLG games on Twitch or Justin.tv. And streaming, I remember when like people got their fix from watching like White Boy 7th Street and Hutch, and IGN has so many content creators. They were low key like a powerhouse that I feel like this is a sidebar conversation for my gamers out there. But if y'all remember IGN, they still exist to this day. But back then, IGN had like gaming on lock, because if it was a gaming video being produced, they were like the creme de la creme of gaming videos and gaming content. And they would they would go and recruit different YouTubers from all over the internet to post their content on IGN, and IGN would take some profit. I believe they would take some profit. It didn't work out in the long run just because you don't need a middleman on YouTube. You don't need a middleman in life, but you definitely don't need a middleman on YouTube. But yeah, I don't know why I brought that up. I think I wanted to say that streaming used to be a lot more innocent, just like everything, in its inception, there's a lot of innocence in nature. But then, through time, we come and kind of molest that a little bit.
Running or hiding from the possible outcomes and effects of live streaming and streamers in particular, the communities created out of live streaming and its effects on those people watching it. But what seems like fun and games has potentially become something so socially grim that is shaping new minds in a younger generation. And it's this new form of entertainment where people not only get their entertainment from, but political views, social views, and interests from. Is this the ultimate echo chamber where bigotry and harassment runs rampant, relatively unregulated? I sit here to ask, is streaming entering a phase of little to no return? Comment down below, what do you guys think about streaming culture as a whole? Hit that subscribe button down below. If you would like to see more commentary just like this video, I do pop culture commentary, but I also get into the social commentary space. If you like this video, you might like a video I did called Stop with the Humiliation Content. This is going to run along a similar line. Without further ado, let's get into the deep, dark world of streaming. So let's talk about the essence of live streaming and how it started from the beginning. Live streaming, to its truest essence, started in the early 90s, and the first media players had live streaming capabilities where you would more likely see concerts or sports games. And with YouTube's emergence in 2005, video making capabilities unlocked as everyday people, like me, could make video content for users. And in 2008, YouTube Live held its first ever live stream event, so anyone, anywhere with a computer could access the stream live, real time. And this is where we do start to transition into the modern landscape of streaming. So a live stream platform allows users to broadcast live videos to onlookers so you can watch and react in real time, creating this spontaneous environment so that we as a community can engage directly in that moment. And this actually adds another layer to the parasocial, and it makes it easier to develop a connection to the streamer. It's almost like a virtual meet and greet that happens and occurs daily. And platforms like Twitch arrived on the scene in 2011, and that catered more so to a gaming audience, being made popular through the guise of video gaming content. People would play their games, other people would watch, comment, and it created this niche community. And this revolutionized how people saw live streaming.
No. The community was set, period, as far as like watching and consuming gaming content. I don't know about a niche community. You had a community where, you know, if you were watching a streamer on Twitch, more than likely they had other forms of socials and other things that you kind of gravitated towards to begin with. But in my opinion, I feel like Twitch came like at the perfect time, but also like maybe a year too late. I think that we were already, and I say we because I remember the climate back then. Like people were posting Call of Duty videos, right? Like people were posting trick shot shit. People were posting Halo videos. People were posting sports videos, like sports gaming content. But there wasn't a hub to watch this happen live, and YouTube was not in a developmental stage to the point where the market, like the actual market of, you know, let's say the US or the West, we weren't to get like a Hauppauge, I think that's what it was called, a Hauppauge DVR or video recorder. That shit was like $200. And if y'all remember, I don't know how old some of y'all are, but like in 2011 I was 12. So being 12 years old, wanting to make my own content, when am I gonna get my hands on $200 just for that's just to record? You still need like you still need the console and the computer to edit. So you need console, computer, or console, laptop / computer, and Hauppauge. Almost damn near $1,000 setup to go ahead and produce any content on the internet. So Twitch came at an early point when the entry to gaming, especially like PC gaming, was kind of really setting its way of like, yo, we're better than consoles. You know what I mean? We're doing shit a little bit better with Steam, and Valve is taking things to a higher level. You don't need to be waiting for every major release on a AAA title to come through your Xbox 360, you know, eventually your Xbox One. You can get games through Steam. So I'm being nitpicky here, but I just want to say, I mean, you're watching my reaction, so I'm gonna add in my knowledge and information. I feel like whatever we said about the niche is kind of incorrect. The niche was already developed on YouTube, and just in general, gaming was a niche. So if you're gonna watch gaming content on YouTube or Twitch, you know what I'm saying? The niche was already there. It didn't just come in 2011.
Right? That it wasn't just for music events or sporting events, but for accessing people, watching people doing other things. And although most social media platforms do offer some sort of live streaming feature, more platforms began emerging as streaming only, creating a niche land for itself amongst the other sea of social media platforms at the time. And so we've seen a boom in live streaming content post-pandemic. To be exact, a 300% boom between March and August 2020. And where we'll also see a boom is in shopping for this month, with Black Friday sales ramping up for the holidays. It's gift giving season, and as exciting and love filled as that is, it can be very stressful trying to figure out not only a good gift, but a useful one. Well, Ridge is making it an easy decision for you this holiday season with up to 47% off some of your favorite items on their website. So thank you to Ridge for sponsoring today's video. Now, one thing we carry everywhere is our wallet and keys. It's been especially hard for me to find a
Oh, it's an
wallet
ad.
that's compact enough to
Oh
fit in
yeah.
my purse. And 7.1 million users streamed on the platform, which ultimately dominates the space. It has 240 million active users. And in 2023, 7.1 million users streamed on the platform at least once a month, which this platform was the one that garnered most attention, right, to gamers. But it's made itself a mainstay in the live streaming space. Then there's also platforms like YouTube Live, TikTok Live.
For a galaxy.
I am not a robot. Thank you for the roses.
Gang, 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 gang.
That's the Wild Wild West, and Instagram Live. And then recently, like the new kid on the block that's been kicking ass, no pun intended, is Kick.com, which is one of the newest platforms to emerge out of 2022. And that has skyrocketed into a level of popularity. This platform itself has created some sort of controversy, which will intertwine with a lot of the issues that we have, with loose community guidelines, free speech.
Always remember, if you have the need for a Reddit to exist, then you have the need for a 4chan to exist. Just remember that. You know, there's always two sides to a coin. It will never always just be honesty. It will never always just be good. We'll get into that later.
Speech, opposing cancel culture, and a generous compensation program where creators get 95% of the income that they make on the app. And actually, straight from the Kit community guidelines, they say, we value the importance of constructive dialogue over knee-jerk reactions, often associated with cancel culture. So essentially, that's just code word for saying, we're just gonna get on here. You say what you want to say. If you get offended, let's have an open dialogue. So we'll talk about that. But there's also been controversy linking the platforms and its influence on gambling. One of the owners, who also owns a betting website called Stake, has been criticized with an article saying, quote, invested interest shared between platforms, the viability of Kick is called into question as merely a vehicle for promoting online gambling on Stake. And when you have a lot of children or people under the age of 18 on a website like this, you're conflating gambling with streaming. It can create bad habits. And that's just a theme. So generally speaking, through these live
Agreed.
streams, you can earn money through subscription and donations in real time quite rapidly. And there's also this anonymous aspect of digital platforms like Twitch and Kick, right? The comments come in fast. You don't have to put a profile picture. There's not a lot of vetting. So people feel more emboldened to say whatever they want, fostering and harboring toxic and arguably hateful communities at times. And we've seen the birth of streamers making millions of dollars. That's a new thing. Some of whom are estimated to make about $500,000 a month. That's on the higher end, but even $20,000 a month. It's actually insane. So by no means is live streaming inherently bad. As with any platform, there are things that can make it dangerous. Viewer engagement and consistency is also very huge. And with its popularity, it's not fully, to me, being addressed seriously enough. So we could talk about some popular streamers, stats of streaming viewers. So Kai Cenat is a 22-year-old online streamer, and he specializes in comedic content. Or if you're around my age, you can think of it being iCarly-esque, right? He's basically the modern day iCarly. So if someone like him with a net worth of anywhere between 9 to 12 million, maybe more than that, he is the second most subscribed Twitch streamer of all time, which shows he's created a large, substantial audience.
And where did Kai start from? YouTube. So what does that tell you? That well, it tells me two things. It tells me that Twitch is a great platform to take care of a community, to breed a community. So what you just called toxic landed him to be the second most subscribed content creator on the platform of all time. And I think he's only been streaming on Twitch maybe the last 2 to 4 years. So you got to understand what that means. That means that YouTube never fulfilled its end of the bargain on getting, and it's not even fulfilled. YouTube has not created a landscape to where the consumer can show just how much they love their content creator. It's just not there on YouTube. They try to do it with, you can pay for like certain subscription tiers on YouTube, kind of blending Patreon in with YouTube. But the reason Patreon needed to exist is because people really like their content creators and they want to be able to give them money. I mean, how crazy is it that we watched Cartoon Network for years as kids? We watched Nickelodeon for years, Disney for years. Now imagine you get the chance when you're 19, when you're 21, you're 22, you're working your first job, and you say, hey, Disney, I know I've been watching you for the last 10 years and you contributed to a lot of highlights in my life, entertainment wise. Let me give you $5. Let me give you a $10 donation. Or I just got a brand new job. You gave me confidence with one of your TV shows. I'm going to give you $100 donation. I'm going to subscribe to you and give 50 other people a subscription as well because I wanted a subscription when I was younger and I couldn't get one. There was no platform doing that. And when I say doing it, I mean like Twitch succeeds off of subscriptions and donations. You want to support your streamer, you got to subscribe to them, but they get that check once a month. So people know, okay, the easier way for me to help out, the easier way for me to do things is to donate. That's why there's donation goals, that's why there's sub goals, because you're able to talk to your community like a community. Twitch is probably the first platform to really understand that communities drive cost. And if your community is willing to pay for something, there is no amount or no limit to that level of devotion. You get what I'm saying? So we can talk about Twitch like it's some anomaly, but let's really speak on why it's an anomaly. It's an anomaly because it figured out how to get consumer to profit the producer directly. Now, of course, they take their cut, but they left an avenue, they left a route to where the streamer can get all of that money up front. You don't have to get a sub, but the subs help the channel grow. You don't have to donate, but the donations help the streamer. And whatever their cause is, whatever they're trying to do, some people are just using the money to live so they can keep streaming. People understand that. People have tried streaming. You know what I mean? We'll get into that later. But 17 minutes in, I'm trying not to keep pausing. Let me just keep going.
Kai Cenat was the leading Twitch streamer worldwide, creating this empire out of live streaming, which has really set a lot of the precedents. Now, I would argue that his content is more positive leaning, but he definitely leans into the antics, being grandiose, and kind of presenting like this kiddish, young persona online. So a lot of younger children are attracted to his content. You have older people attracted to his content. So he kind of spans this timeline in this age group. He descends that. So when Kai announced a month-long nonstop streaming event, getting the likes of Kim Kardashian to be in the promo video and help promote it, it made me think that there's so many different worlds and interests that I am not very privy to.
I agree.
But there was actually behind the scenes footage from this Mafia-thon that's going on right now. And they expose kind of the behind the scenes, the room that has all of the streaming equipment. It is a whole production. And what you think is something so simple as hitting a button, for some of these big creators, they're running these large operations. That looked like a news studio. It looked like a news production room. So food for thought.
And shout out to Kai for that level of production being brought to Twitch, because I feel like once you get to that level, there's a part of me that it doesn't resonate well with, honestly, because I don't like when things are kind of manufactured when they're not explicitly said to be. If it's written in gold, this is a production, then we'll do that. But if it's not said and we're kind of still like teeter-tottering around the idea of like, well, this is kind of authentic and genuine, but we kind of produced and rehearsed it. In this case, I want to say shout out to Kai, because I feel like, I mean, this is a business, right? There's levels to this. When you get to a certain point, you do have to elevate. And his elevation has led to having a full production team on Twitch. He might be one of the not first streamers, but he definitely is the biggest streamer. Let's just say it's warranted what he's doing right now. His level of production is warranted with the level of viewership he's getting. He's getting more views than a lot of cable networks. So it's like, and it's consistent at like 90,000 people watching at one time, and he doesn't even have to overproduce it. You know what I'm saying? He overproduces it because the expectation is so high now. He can't just do a regular stream. If Kai does one regular stream, it's like it will break the mirage of what he's got going on. It has to continue to be overproduced. It has to continue to have like star celebrities on there. Everything has to be bigger than big because a Kai Cenat stream has to be huge. You know what I mean? Like you can refer back to where he started from, but when you get to a certain level, people don't expect anything less of you.
Thinking about what the is going on over
Agreed.
there. What's
Agreed.
happening? Because I'm out of the loop. I'm a 25-year-old girl.
Oh, we the same age. Shout out to you, Cameron.
Child, that is not where I thrive. That is not where I live on the internet. So we started seeing more celebrities appearing on streams. This has become a new viable way to promote music, preview music, and connect with
I
fans.
will say,
So before-
artists. Yo, let me touch on this. I'm sorry. When Aiden Ross was coming up, and Kai was kind of like right there, cause it was almost like a passing of a baton. Like XQC and Aiden Ross were like competing for #1 spot on Twitch. Kick comes into fruition. Aiden leaves, Twitch for Kick. XQC eventually does some deal with Kick where he has to leave Twitch for a minute, then he gets that back. But during that time period, I feel like it has to be said that, like, if you're an artist, if you're somebody promoting music, in particular a rapper, you got to really think about like what happened with your album sales. I would love to see how these artists feel about these deals afterwards. I would love to know, like, okay, so you went on Aiden stream. I'm sure you saw an increase in followership. I'm sure you saw an increase in streams, right afterwards. But where did that kind of like pivot you a month later, 2 months later, 3 months later? Did that really help the album sales that were coming out that week? Where does your label think that the Kai Cenat stream or the Aiden Ross stream, where did that get you numbers wise? I feel like artists need to stay away from that. That's just my honest opinion. Maybe I'll change my mind about that in like a week or a day later tonight, whatever, whoever knows. But as of right now, I think that artists it elevated the hell out of like Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, because each artist is bringing their own fan base. And yeah, there's some overlap, but if you got 20 rappers on your stream, you got 20 new audiences. Versus once one rapper comes on Kai Cenat's stream, everybody's kind of in tune. So the audience that these other rappers are kind of feeding off of, splitting, into, they're already being like, you're already eating off that. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if they regret any of those interactions. I'm sure they don't regret it. It was notoriety, and what they say, good, any pub is good pub. I mean, any publicity is good publicity. So, but I've always had that thought, like maybe rappers that have went on the stream, I could see some of them being like, I gave him way more than he gave me.
when people would go to the radio station or they would go on Good Morning America to do cartwheels at
Exactly.
8
It's
in the
exactly
morning.
what it's like. That's a
Now,
great point.
people are going on a Kai Cenat stream
Yep.
and banking on spreading the word, almost
Yep.
like a form of like music journalism, which I don't want to call it that, but that's what's kind of slowly being replaced. You've seen artists like Nicki Minaj, Drake preview new music on stream.
Yep.
21 Savage, Offset, G Herbo, Tyla, Kodak Black, Glorilla, right? And then we recently saw DDG showed up on the live stream with him and Hallie's baby. And that created a controversy and tweets back and forth because there is this debate of the safety and the exposure of live streaming in particular, right? Separate from Instagram, separate from Twitter, there is a unique vortex that live streaming is. It's like if you're in that world, you get it. If you're not, you don't. And as cool as that can be for those niche communities, a lot of negativity can really thrive and foster in those environments. We've also seen big celebrities outside of music like Kevin Hart or John Cena appear on some of these live streams. And it's gotten to the point where you've even seen celebrities themselves create streaming channels. So when we talk about this issue of now streamers, and I'll even go far to say as podcasts, to reach a certain demographic, and by certain demographic, I will say a young male demographic.
Cameron, if you don't already have a stream, I really think, or have a stream set up on some type of platform, I know you're probably not thinking about it, but if you happen to watch this video, I do think you should go ahead and get one started. Even if you're not streaming on it, maybe only once a month, or you're streaming on it maybe twice a month or whatever the case may be, I think all content creators should have a way to access the community live. Every news network tries to provide live coverage. Every YouTube or every influencer should have some type of way to report to their audience live. And I think that an app like Periscope, it's unfortunate that it didn't work out in the long run. But those are necessities for the future. I think that as things get a little bit more wonky and shaky, we'll rely on live coverage and not edited content, especially with AI, because AI, the only thing I think AI is not gonna be able to touch right now in the immediate future is streaming, right? AI can't kind of create a stream, or it could try to create a stream for you, but it's gonna be very, very, very odd. So I think while you still can start getting some type of like live streaming content displayed to your viewership. I do stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/LOUISSLAND, Louis Land with 2 S's. But yeah, enough of the promo.
Reminds me of how a lot of celebrities now, political candidates, etc., are starting to use vessels like podcasts and internet media to reach out to younger audience members or fans. And A is because that's where the youth resides, right? Many people don't watch mainstream or traditional media like they once did. And B, sometimes to evade accountability on hard questions because let's face it, some of these streamers and some of these podcasters are not trained journalists. They didn't even go to school. They didn't study. They're just having a conversation. And for some conversations, I think that's fine, right? You ping pong. But when we start to get into the political sphere or information that needs to be accurate, it can create a world of harm and misinformation in spaces where we cannot afford that. And I even think of just the idea of people kind of evading questions. When Katy Perry did the Call Her Daddy podcast, you know, she was in all of this heat for Woman's World and working with Dr. Luke. And Alex, who was the podcast host, who I think she does a good job at what she does, but when it gets to those nitty-gritty questions, she doesn't really have a follow-up. And Katy Perry said something along the lines of,
"Thank you, because I have literally been the biggest fan for forever, and everything that you've built, like, no one can say anything other than, like, you're an icon. So thank you for, like, taking the time out of your busy life to come here. Seriously. You're one of my, thank you, and you're one of my only interviews because I feel like you get it. You get it. You speak to the people in a way that they want to hear. You know, you're super relevant."
And to me, that was a bit of a code word of like, you're not really going to ask me the tough questions. Like it's girl chat. I can kind of get away with this. I can skirt my way around it, and you're probably not going to ask much of a follow-up. So imagine with these.
That's why a lot of y'all are turned off to streaming now, because it's like two sides to the coin, right? The kids that grew up in this world where this is all they've known, they didn't go through the iCarly days. They didn't go through the watching. Remember, I was having a conversation with my girl about this. Like, y'all have to remember that we grew up on a lot of, like, 25, me and Cameron, we grew up on a lot of fabricated media. A lot of none of it being genuine content. You know what I mean? It was meant for entertainment. It was meant for educational purposes, whatever the case may be. It was meant for distractions, whatever. But we grew up on fake content. So seeing live streaming now, it almost feels like the reality is now fake because you see the fakeness in reality. That's the weird part. Where kids, they're getting their dose of the fake content, but it's being presented like, hey, I'm a normal person. I'm a streamer. I'm real. I'm just like you. I'm a kid in my room, but like it's all set up. It's all staged. It's all production. That's the problem, is that we know what production means. The kids don't know what production means. The kids don't know like what a live audience really means, because they're watching something live, and this is the live it's ever got. This is like, you can get banned if this person on your live stream just says the hard R right now. You're just done. You're finished. Your platform, for whatever reason, for however long, is going to be banned. You get what I'm saying? That's something that media outlets had ways around because they weren't filming real live content. They might have had a live audience, but that shit is heavily edited. There's things taken out. There's things that are reduced. It's rehearsals going on. What are we talking about? This is like the juxtaposition is like, now in the streaming world, these children are growing up without any sort of pre-streaming or pre-live in your face infrastructure. There is none there for them. This is just the world they're in. That's why they're so influenced by it, because like speed is awesome. Speed is amazing. Their parents are telling them about Gilligan's Island. Like, what do you think Gilligan's Island? How does Gilligan's Island match up to Speed? Speed can be in Croatia tomorrow, right? You're waiting on the next Gilligan Island, even if it was live, right? You're still waiting on the episode to come out. You're still waiting on contract negotiations. You're still waiting to see, will this actor return to the show? Will this show get renewed? Speed's gonna be on tomorrow. He's gonna be on Thursday. He said he's gonna be on at 7, but he got a little sick, so he's gonna be on at 8. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to have to watch Ed, Edd and Eddie 30 minutes when I got home from school until it came on this Saturday, where I could watch maybe 2 or 3 episodes back to back. The level of digestion that I had to make way for other content. I had to make way for other shows. Hey, what's on 63 when SpongeBob's not on? Because Disney's got nothing on right now. Cartoon Network's got nothing on right now. You know that phrase? I'd watch it if nothing else was on. We had to grow up on that. These kids can just end that shit. They can turn off your stream and not watch you again. They can just go on your channel, go on your chat, call you a loser, pop out, go to somebody else's YouTube page, say this is the greatest content ever, go to somebody else's YouTube page, dislike that video, go to somebody else's YouTube. There's just so much content right here. Right here.
Platforms, especially online streamers, right? Being spontaneous, live, on the fly, lack of fact checking, lack of research, while also reacting to live comments, it can create a storm of misinformation and chaos, bad behavior, intolerance, and miseducation. And quite frankly, we've seen this play out with the most recent election. Point blank, period. Young people, particularly young men, primarily watching these streams and not consuming much of anything else.
Very true.
So when these streamers, and podcasters act as your only source of media, right? It does become an echo chamber. As with other things, the echo chamber is not a new thing. It just shape shifts. And this is the reality for many folks. A lot of youth
Now, what's your grandparents' echo chamber? My grandma will sit in front of the TV and she'll watch ABC News. She'll turn on MSNBC. She'll watch anything that's on daytime television. And those information sources are the same echo chambers. They're the same funnels of who owns those corporations, who owns those conglomerates. You understand what I'm saying? Who's deciding what gets to go on TV? Right? Kai Cenat gets to press stream and go live to an audience of whoever's watching. Nobody has to decide that for him. But on television, there's decisions upon decisions upon decisions. There's a filter network to get to your controlled media state that we're in today. So yeah, you're 100% right on that. The echo chamber has always existed. It's a different echo chamber now, but it's also just the times. I mean, news networks have to figure out if they're going to continue to cater to the. That's the thing. That's why news networks can't really change. They can't really get too creative because they still got to cater to grandpa and grandpa. And grandma and grandpa are never going to download that app. They're never going to pull up Twitch. It's just not going to happen. They're just not going to do it. They're not on Facebook for real. They just got on Facebook. My grandma just got on Facebook like 5 years ago. You understand what I'm saying?
Example, are directly shaping their political and societal stances / opinions based on short TikToks, social media, streamers, internet personalities, where long-form nuanced content isn't generally encouraged or seeked out, or the youth has shorter attention spans. It's important that we gain the tools to do actual research, real research, watching documentaries, reading articles, reading scholarly articles, and being able to comprehend. And comprehension skills are severely lacking and declining because, I mean, once this man gets in here and dismantles the Department of Education, that is only going to...
Now, what was that, y'all? What was that? What would you describe this type of messaging in a YouTube video about live streamers destroying Gen Z? Once this man, President-elect, former President Donald Trump, gets into office. Now, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with what she just said, but again, that's how easy it is to be an echo chamber. That's how easy it is. You see how, like, she could have left that out the video, right? But she knew that was integral because it does affect society. So she has to mention it. How are you going to mention it? Are you going to be as openly less biased as possible, or least biased as possible? Or are you going to kind of go in and say, y'all know what I'm rocking with, y'all know what I'm going for, let me go ahead and just state my case and just give y'all my video? Because think about it, I've never seen a Cameron Suzanne video. I've never seen one. So it seems like to me, from when I'm picking up with this video, right now I got at 16:32, that minute mark, that she's anti-Trump. So she's anti-establishment as far as where we are in today's American government. That's not to say that I'm not or I am. That's just to say I got that on a video that was titled "Live Streamers Are Destroying Gen Z." That's not what you said you were going to talk about, Cameron. But at the same time, it goes along with what she's trying to paint. So I'm going to let her continue. But I'm just showing that's how easy it is to become an echo chamber. That's how easy it is to lose integrity from one viewer to the next. That's how easy it is. She didn't even do anything wrong.
And because on podcasts and streamers weren't actually talking about what could happen, you have people voting off of misinformation, right? And that can change the trajectory of people's lives. So that's why we need to start genuinely addressing this.
Agreed.
And that's why we're here today. So
Good justification. I like that.
42.8% of Gen Z social media users consume live streams. Okay, Gen Z is from age, I believe, 1997 to 2012. That's the guesstimate. Now, 44% of users say that they watch less TV as a result of live streaming. And regarding Twitch, 65% of the viewers are male, making a smaller viewership audience distribution than other platforms. And because a lot of these main streamers are either A, not discussing
That's going to
important
change.
topics,
Within like the next 10 years, it's going to go to like where everybody else is at. Probably the next 5. Twitch has to be male dominated because it's male dominated. But as you can see, there's more women coming on Twitch. I think we're going to get a huge female streamer within the next 2 years. I think a female is going to literally, what's happening to like hip hop right now, with the culture of hip hop kind of shifting a little bit in gender pool and gender direction. I think it's going to happen to Twitch too. I think it's natural. I think hip hop is a reflection of the greater American society as it was in its inception. And we are going to see the same trends that happen in hip hop happen everywhere else. So yeah, that's why the DNC needed so desperately to cater to the hip hop audience, where however you want to take that, the hip hop audience, by having like Meg Thee Stallion and everybody else at the DNC, or not at the DNC, sorry, at Kamala's rallies, because you needed to get with the times. And unfortunately, the younger people are now watching live, digestible content at an alarmingly, disgustingly high. Like I'm talking about, have y'all ever been on Twitch for real? These streamers are doing like 48-hour streams, 24-hour streams. They're streaming for 8 hours a day. If you missed school that day, you can just watch a stream the whole day and just be cool, just thug it out. You know what I'm saying? That's neither here nor there. I did the same thing when I was in like 11th grade. I was watching like 30 viewers, 40 viewer streams. You know, you know how that, y'all remember how that was back then.
rather worried about blowing up their room, or B, building platforms out of humiliation, and C, arguably the worst, fueling sexist and racist rhetoric, right? Harmful rhetoric. We fall into what we call the red pill.
Ooh, not the red pill.
Has thrived in the name of podcasting, but especially streamers, especially male streamers. So when we talk about the red pill, we're going to get into this very briefly. From Reddit to social media timelines to podcasters to streamers, the name derives from a scene in the 1999 film The Matrix, where he says,
"You take the blue pill, the story ends, you wake up, you're in bed, and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes."
Rabbit hole equals reality. So there's these ideas on these, let's say, red pill Reddit threads where a lot of this rhetoric started initially, where men think that women run the world and don't take accountability for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I gotta pee. I'm not gonna edit this video. And it's not because, oh, he's lazy. I just gotta pee, and like, I don't think that really needs to be edited out. You know what I mean? Like, this is where we're at in today's world. So I'll be right back, and you guys just continue to be beautiful and great. Hello, I've returned. It's me, Loui.
Everything in their lives that is wrong is because of women.
All women want to do is work now. Women are flakier than before.
Like everything is a woman's fault, despite us not actually holding positions of power, right? Historically speaking, in many societies all over the world. So, yeah, we already have some like cognitive dissonance going on, some misinformation happening. So, this results in the degradation of women that can be internalized, remixed, and spewed into thought process and transformed into content. And that's what stage we're at now, which we've seen with particularly some of these streamers and podcasters. Some men and young boys are finding solace in this. They're finding comfort. We have reached another echelon of digital misogyny, but we ponder and see how much of this translates to real life, right? I think a lot of us have been we know it's existing, but we're not really sure how much this has started to manifest in real life. And boy, do we have a very rude awakening. Nick Price, who has watched the red pill community grow since the early 2000s, says, quote, "What was once lighthearted and humorous slowly became sinister over time in a lot of communities. I think they generally start down these paths due to lack of self-esteem and identity, and they'll cling on to what they derive from it." And
To add on to that, it's not just the lack of identity and the lack of lack of self-esteem. It's also I don't understand how we're continuing to excuse mainstream media for their role in all of this. I don't understand how we're continuing to pretend like we weren't pushing. Bro, when we were young, like the dumb blonde like theme, the dumb blonde joke thing was like, bro, that shit was huge, bro. Like White Chicks, the movie White Chicks was made, you know what I'm saying? Classic fucking movie. But it was made because the culture had got to a point in the West where everything was up to be a fucking joke for money and for clicks. And when you don't have when you don't have no actual integrity as a nation, there's no structure of integrity. This is why, as much as people hate, you know, movements like BLM and movements for, disenfranchised people in general, you got to understand that that's what happens when a country doesn't right their wrongs. They suffer from them. They bleed internally. You understand what I'm saying? They bleed internally. And so, yeah, we got to a point now where our women are being made to be targets and victims unnecessarily because men are struggling in today's world. Men are struggling. They were always going to struggle. We set that standard in 2000, in 1990. We were always going to get to this point where this grind, winners eat culture is going to destroy a lot of men. Why do you think red pill people have viewership? Because there's going to be guys that out there that just need somebody to speak for them. They need a voice. They need people. There's always been that group of people. That's like the mob mentality. You know what I mean? You have an idea. You're able to articulate it best. I'm going to go with you and support that because I don't have confidence to do it myself in my own way. So I got to support the red pill community, because even though it may affect some people disproportionately, it's gonna help me out because I've been waiting to get this off my chest. These girls have been rejecting me. These women have not been paying attention to me. So I need to find somebody that hears me. Guess who hears me? Weirdo guy number one. If weirdo guy number one is the only fucking person in existence to hear this guy, what do you think weirdo guy number one is gonna tell him? You need to be kind and respect. He's tapped out of that. He's past that point. It's degraded to a point of no return. Diminishing returns are real. There are diminishing returns on every aspect of life. It's the checks and balances to the order of this world.
The idea that feminism is ruining their lives. So when the internet is acting as a third parent, yes, a third parent, because some of y'all will hand your kid an iPad when you're frustrated or don't want to deal with them.
No cap.
The internet is raising them. And
No
these
cap.
streamers and podcasters act as that role model.
Agreed.
Right? An internet figurehead influencing and shaping some of these kids' perspectives.
Agreed.
So I suggest if you don't know what your kids are watching, you should know. You should be checking. Because
Come on
this
now.
stuff is not a joke.
Come on now.
Exhibit A.
What? No, wait. We love women. But not like trans.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this was a sad clip. I remember this.
Okay.
What have I done?
That was a sad clip.
And this is a very popular streamer, guys. You saw how in this video he kind of laughs like, "Oh, I'm uncomfortable," where he actually really realized in that moment, "Oh shoot, like the stuff that I'm getting on the internet and saying is rubbing off on the male youth." And even though you could see him kind of be like, "Oh shit," he stuck by that 10 toes. And his response to that video was, "They're children and obviously joking. This is how I was at 12," which is the problem, by the way. But if it sounds egregious to you, blame the pride flags in their classrooms. Blame the media for emasculating men. It's your fault for forcing an obvious agenda, not these kids. Boys will be boys. Yeah.
No.
And these are the people who are holding massive platforms. These are the people that kids are following and watching. When a major streaming platform like Kick says in their guidelines, quote, "Occasionally Kick can get rowdy, reflecting the lively and spontaneous nature of our live streaming community. If you insist on having total control over your environment at all times, you will likely have a tough time on Kick." So they basically said, tough luck. You're on your own, dog. For instance, Aiden Ross, who is a very
I
popular,
mean, but what else
when
can
you
they
ask
do?
a young black
I'm trying to
man,
figure out like what else can. Maybe I'm hearing that wrong because I was texting, but like, what else can they do? I mean, you are on your own. You've got to raise your kids. You got to. When I say raise your kids, y'all who don't have kids, all of us who don't have kids, let's gather around. When we have children, we have to make an oath to ourselves that we're going to be able to properly give them attention and give them understanding and insight into the world that they're existing in, and let them know that it's not going to be peaches and rainbows. Everything is not great. Everything is not meant to be consumed on a super high, or even I don't want to say indigestible level, because that doesn't really make sense, but everything is not meant to be consumed um consistently at a high pace. Some things are meant to be taken in doses. You know what I mean? Regulation is needed in families. Regulation is needed in life. You need to regulate. Regulate. Don't leave regulation to the government. We've gotten to a point in America, especially, where the only regulation we would like to see is from our government. We don't want to regulate ourselves. We don't want anybody to regulate our children. We just want to kind of do what we want to do and put the nail in the coffin when we feel fit. And usually it's too late.
creator, to go on a platform to debate a legitimate
racist
for fun and views. You're not doing that to educate an audience. You're doing that to humiliate somebody.
What is CBS doing it for, though? What is CNN doing it for? When they bring in panelists, what is Fox News doing it for? When they always bring in one or two panelists who can't really hold their own, and they're kind of using them as like soft shields to like meat shields, really, to just pass rhetoric towards to their audience. This is what I mean. We can't have this convo if we're not going to call out media. These people are learning it from what we grew up on, what we saw. Aiden Ross and the people behind Aiden Ross in the stream, the people behind Castanat in the stream, they're doing what we've seen done on TV. They're bringing it to a personal level because now we got individuals marketing themselves as bigger than life content creators. But if you're not going to target where this started from, there is going to be no progress. You have to target the media. The media will change the flow of life, because as many people as you think are on Twitch, there are more people consuming newspapers and conventional forms of media more so than the kids are eating up this new content.
And to push racist rhetoric.
You want to say something like that Aiden Ross had to pay $20,000 to talk to a girl. You're not even a girl to me. I mean, look at this animal. Come on, you know I wanted to pay you $20,000, so Nick could have fried you.
Now listen. If you're a young black man and you just watched Aiden Ross devour this black woman, right? What do you think the 15-year-old black kid is thinking when he watches this? He's thinking Aiden Ross is cool. He has my favorite rapper on all the time, or at times. He has my favorite YouTubers on all the time. Everything is in favor of them pushing towards Aiden. You know, when parents are needed to say, hey, if they go against your people, if they go against your women, if they go against your morals, your standards, no matter who they are, you question them, you give them a chance to explain themselves, If they refuse to do so, you cut them off. You alienate them from your life. It don't got to be from all your friends. It don't got to be from the world, but you cut them off. But because we have not established those boundaries within specific communities, of course, these people are going to be subjected to intense, diabolical levels of disrespect because us as a people allow it. You think this hurts Aiden Ross from getting another artist to come on his stream? That should be the real question. You're mad at viewers. You're mad at 15-year-olds for being 15. You're mad at 14-year-olds for being 14. These are impressionable minds. You know what I mean? And this is not aimed at Cameron. This is aimed at that. This is aimed at the position that she's bringing about. This is not aimed at her. I don't know her personally. I cannot aim anything towards her.
And I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars during that debate. It's okay.
And how did your life change? Did you get the job? Is your house any bigger? What positive happened in your life after you just tore that woman down? But you gained nothing.
And that's the problem. Someone like Aiden Ross, oh, this is just entertainment. No, this is indoctrinating people. This is spreading misinformation. It's spreading hate. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why people are not more outraged by this. Literally wanting somebody to debate someone who literally after the election said, your body, our choice. And I'm not going to play the clip and I'm not going to say this man's name. But this is the rhetoric that is being pushed. This is the rhetoric that is being spewed. And this is the rhetoric that popular streamers, some of the most successful streamers on these platforms are promoting. Even the quote, good ones are intermingling with the bad apples, right? So to me, it's like, we need to go back to a square, like uno. In turn, younger audience members are taking and processing that information with little differentiation between accuracy and honesty. Many of these kids are looking at what Aiden Ross does and how he acts, right? The energies that he invites onto his platform, and it serves as a green light. Basic psychology, guys. It's not rocket science. And not only are many women on these platforms reporting that they mainly gain male viewers, which for instance on Twitch, that does make sense because male viewership makes up the majority of users. But there's an age gap. You have young girls streaming saying like, most of the people who follow me are like 40-year-old men who are leaving me creepy comments. And then you see misogyny at display. There was a streamer who was on a yacht and there were girls partying, and he said something that was actually deplorable.
How are you gonna act like you're not a You shook ass on my stream 50 million times! Oh, my bad. And that's what you're here for. We're not here to talk to you. We're not here to talk to you.
And the worst part is that there were guys in the comments laughing and joking about it, right? So it serves to make this much more normalized and make people much more numb to this behavior. Pokimane, who's the most followed female Twitch streamer, has over 9 million followers. And she actually said, quote, the way that people treat me deters any other women in this space from genuinely talking about their honest opinions or behaving how they probably really want to because they recognize that that's the treatment they can expect. And she also shared an anecdote of meeting a smaller female streamer.
When did gamers ever receive women properly? When did, if we're talking about Twitch being a gaming platform that it started off from and kind of increasing its viewership to do more and more things, when has Twitch ever been a platform for females? Right? And when I say Twitch, I mean like the space of which these people are inhabiting viewership wise. These are the same people that you would get on Xbox in 2011 and they're just shouting the N-word. They're just shouting the N-word. You got to start thinking, what would make a person get on a gaming platform where they're supposed to be having fun and letting loose, and the first thing they want to do is shout the N-word out? Y'all thought these people were y'all thought they were gonna accept everybody else? That's the thing. You got to stop the buck where it fucking starts. When you, when you let a country manifest into a position that it is in today, where people are mistreated on so many different levels, so many different bases, if you continue to pretend like that's not an issue, it will pour into everything else. You got to right your wrongs to move forward. You got to admit there's a problem to move forward. And if the country, the powers that be, are not willing to admit that, you're going to have degradation in every facet of its existence. I'm going to end the video here. We're 54 minutes in. I'm not making an hour video. It was a lot longer than I wanted it to be. But I feel like we talked about some good things. If y'all want to see me continue this video, just let me know in the comments. If not, sometimes I'll watch some of these videos, you know, to get my initial opinion in. I feel like I kind of see, I mean, maybe we got through the gist of it. We got about 14 minutes left. If y'all want me to finish that out, just let me know. But I appreciate Cameron for dropping the video. I'm going to link the video down below for her page, and then y'all can watch that if y'all want to. But yeah, I'm out. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace.